we made it to this session. Hi, everyone. My name is James Udom, and welcome to my Career Chronicles. What are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about starting and building a career in product management. People are always running to me with this question: oh my God, what's product management? How do I start a career there? What is it all about? There's always a bunch of questions around career, and I thought it would be very cute to bring someone that has been in the product management space for a very long time now and has built and actually built so many products across different industries to the show. And I am super excited to be having Goodness with me, join me on this show. And surely she's going to join us live. And I just want to give a shout out and welcome everyone that is able to join us here today. And I want you to get your questions ready, get your comments ready, whatever questions you have around starting and building a career in product management. Product management is such an interesting career, and there are always job openings everywhere and every day. I mean, right now, if you jump into LinkedIn and then you just type jobs in product management, you're going to see like a whole bunch of jobs right there. Okay, I think Goodness is here. Yep. And there she goes. There she goes. Good. Hi, Goodness.
Hi, James. Good evening.
Yep, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good
It's
evening, good
morning where
night.
you are.
Yeah, wherever you are. And super excited to have you join us on today's session of my Career Chronicles. Goodness. Thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate it. And once again, I want to welcome everyone who is joining us for this live session. Our topic for today is starting and building a career in product management. There is always question around that. How do I start? Starting is one thing, and then the next thing is how do I build? Because some people start and then they're not able to build. And then I was able to go in search of someone that started and then built. And then I said, okay, come and tell us how to start and how to build a career in product management. If you are joining us live, feel free to drop your questions, whatever comments you have, just put it there on the comment section. And then we are all going to address those questions together on this session. And if you're ready, I'm ready. Can we jump right into it, Goodness?
Yes, of course. I'm
Cool.
excited to be here.
Cool. All right. And I love starting from the very basics, like the very elementary things, like more like where it all began. So my first question for you today is tell us about yourself. Tell us about growing up. Which primary school did you go to? Which village?
Okay,
Which
that's
village school?
really, really basic.
Which village school did you go to? The most elementary thing we need to know about it. Just tell us about growing up. Like, what was it like for you?
Amazing. The funny part is I don't really share. I've never really shared all of this information in public, except
We
to
are
my
lucky.
friends and those who know me. So yeah, I grew up in Oshodi in Lagos. So
Okay.
Mafoluku Oshodi. If you are conversant with Lagos, you know Oshodi. Oshodi is like people hardly believe that there are houses in Oshodi. Because the most renowned place in Oshodi is the market, Oshodi
Mm-hmm.
Market. And it's known for the roughness, the giddiness, the hustle and the bustle. So I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in Oshodi. I was born in Oshodi. I grew up in Oshodi. I went to primary school in Oshodi, secondary school in Oshodi. I literally, I spent most of my life in Oshodi, right? And the first time I really left Lagos was when I had to go to like uni. I studied in University of Benin. That was the first time I really, really left Lagos. And that was when, like, I'm from Edo State, but I'd never been to anywhere aside
Okay.
Lagos. Yeah. So my growing up days was pretty much cool. It was like the average growing up day for like the average millennial slash Gen Z. I'm not a Gen Z, but they say I'm a Gen Z. So
All right.
those group of people who are neither millennials or Gen Z. We don't behave like millennials and we don't behave like Gen Z. We are just in our own league.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the same average life. You literally go to school, you come back home, you play. I grew up in a family of we're all girls.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm the first child, and both my parents are teachers. Like, so school has always been very important for them, basically. And so it was something that my parents invested a lot in education. So even if I do not eat, even if I do not wear good clothes, although I always had those things, education was always priority. So you'd see my mom doing all of the domestic chores, but she'd make sure that we go for extra lessons. So
Mhm.
you know how females are expected to be at home and cook and do all the chores. It was never like that for us. We were expected to go to lesson. So when you come back from school, drop your bag, go to lesson, you come back home and you're famished and you're really tired. My mom would handle all the chores just to make sure that we were going to school and we were being the best at it. So I had a privileged life per se, in terms of like all the basic needs that I needed, all the basic wants that I had, I always had them at my table. I always had them. It was not a very, very rich life because I lived in a face me. You know what face me I slap you compound was, but I think in that face me I slap you environment, we were like the privileged ones because we had the opportunity to go to school, we had the
Mhm.
opportunity to eat twice daily or even thrice daily.
Mhm.
My parents were like educated, like, and we would see all those people around us who were less educated. So we're like more like the rich folks in the face me I slap you. so so yeah, it wasn't until I started to go out and meet other people that I'm like, okay, okay, there's a lot.
Yeah.
You are not even middle class.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty fun. I really had the privilege of going to school. My parents were really, really interested in us going to school, learning, and they were both teachers. So it's one of the reasons why I have also learned to teach very well. And one of the things I enjoy doing, that which is natural for me, is teaching. Yeah, so yeah.
Cool. That's an interesting childhood, and I'm always very interested in childhood stories. Did you play in the sand? Did you play in the rain? Did you
Of course
did
I
you,
did.
did
I
did you
did.
play in the snow and all of that stuff, depending on where you are? So I'm happy to hear and welcoming everyone. I see someone. I see Michael Jordan is here with us, and then I see. Can I pronounce her name? Visvanathan from India. And Kitten Doom, Didi is the height of black culture. I understand that means Oshod. Yeah, Oshod. I remember my first time in Lagos. There was this buzz I was saying, Oshod, Oshod. I'm like, what are they talking about? Anyway, let's move up a bit real quick. And you said from growing up in Oshodi, doing primary school, secondary school, you moved to the university in Benin. And
Yeah.
let's talk about going to school in Benin. What was the university? What did you study? And also, how did that what you studied help you to like start a career in product management? Can you just take us through that phase of your life or career?
Okay. Yeah, that's really amazing because I
Mm-hmm.
studied French and it literally has nothing to do with what I currently do, right? So, but I think that all of the university experiences, I think one thing that's very, very remarkable in my journey of life is my resilience, right? And I think that basically how I grew up, how I went to school, I literally, basically all of that journey basically is part of what has formed me into being a resilient person. And I think that is one thing that product managers should be. Product managers are meant to be dogged, they are meant to be resilient, they are meant to be like they are meant to be agile, right? Because there's a lot of failures in product management, and you need someone who's really resilient, who has the who's hands-on and really wants to try and basically and all of those things. So I think that so far in my schooling days, while I was in school, I was able to develop resilience, because I literally had to like fend for myself in terms of like income. While I was in school, I literally take up several jobs. I was doing makeup, I was doing hair making, I was doing wigging and all of those things. Basically to put myself through school. And that literally helps me become like a dogged person and being a resilient person. One of the things you'd hear about me when people want to describe me is that I'm very industrious, I'm very resilient. So basically that journey helped me through life basically. But in terms of what I read relating to product management, there was no relation. When in fact, I didn't even apply to study French. I applied to study law, and then they gave me French. You know how they say, "Oh, they gave me."
Yeah, I know.
they, they,
Involved in
they
there.
gave me French. And so, okay, let me just do this French. And then when I came out, I was confused as hell as what to do. What would I do from here? What was the next step? And then I started to look for jobs, and it was tough. Like, it was tough getting jobs. I remember I would come back from like applying for jobs and I would just start crying. Like, really, what's happening here? So I started to teach French, right? So I would teach French, and I was getting some small income in all of those things. And then I got a social media management job. That was my entry into tech generally.
Okay.
So I was doing social media management for a tech company, a tech organization, and I would market their app, and a lot of people would download it, but they will not use the app. So I started to make calls and start, okay, why are you not using the app? And
Mhm.
one of the consistent remarks that I got from customers was, I don't understand the app. I don't know how to use the app. And that was like, okay, why don't you understand how to use the app? So that was what got me interested in user experience design. So that was my first entry into tech. So I started with UX design, or what is called product design right now. So I would do a lot of YouTube videos. I watch YouTube videos. I would take some learnings, and then I stumbled on a 3 weeks boot camp. Now that boot camp was supposed to be, I was going to be off the office. I wasn't going to be at the office for like 3 weeks. So I went to my boss. I'm like, oh, can you give me the opportunity to go for this event? And he was like, no, that's not what I employed you for. You are a social media manager. Stick to being a social media manager.
Yeah.
And that was when I quit that job. I literally quit the job and went for the 3 weeks bootcamp. And my life has skyrocketed and changed from them. That was my entry into tech. So from product design, I moved to doing something more in customer relationship. And then after customer relationship, I started to do product management. I saw that it was like a blend of all the skills that I have, both my marketing skills, my customer relationship skills, my customer engagement skills, my ability to lead, and everything was like a blend into one role. And so I said, okay, product management it is. Yeah, that's it.
That's an interesting one, and something that really caught my attention that you talk so much about resilience. Real quick, we are going to talk about what exactly is this product management, because sometimes we just hear things and we really don't know what they are. I mean, I love to approach everything from first principles. Yeah, so we are going to get there. But let's step back a bit and talk about that epiphany moment. You finish studying French, try to take up like a side job to teach people French, and then you got a job like a social media manager, and then along the line you decided to go for this boot camp. I mean, that sounds like so daring for me, because why are you quitting your job? What are you going to eat? How are you going
I
to
literally
survive?
had 80,000 naira in my account as at then, and I did not have a laptop. So I bought one laptop, 80,000 naira, that literally lasted for the only for the 3 weeks of the boot camp. And so yeah, it was really daunting. It was like one of the biggest, bravest actions I ever took. As at then, it didn't make sense, but yeah, it's been
Yeah.
making sense since then.
I mean, I like those kind of stories, because you don't just wake up and like, you know what, I'm done here, and then you pick all of your life savings to buy a 3 weeks old laptop, or a laptop that will be 3 weeks old. And then, but I guess what really my take home there is like this whole resilience thing, because people normally say, put your money where your mouth is. It's not just enough to want something, but put in the work, or put your money where your mouth is, because
Mm-hmm.
if I have to commit all my savings into something, that means I've crossed the Rubicon. I can't go back. I've reached the point of no return. So that's what I'm seeing there. Okay, let's talk about product management. I know
Yeah.
there are so many definitions and all of that about product management, but I really want to hear from you. What exactly is this product management everyone is talking
Okay.
about? What does it really mean when I say product management? What does it mean?
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with defining what product is literally. Let's start from there. Right. So basically, I have this water here, and this water is a product.
And I have
If
this here. Is a
yeah,
product.
yeah. So if I am trying to open this water and it's taking me so long to open, that is a bad product experience, basically. Right?
Okay.
I know of this Maggi. There's this seasoning cube. We call it Maggi in Nigeria here. There's a particular one. The brand is Chicky, and if you want to break it, it takes a long. Like you have to break it.
Right in my kitchen here.
Okay. Right. And so you know that the target audience, the people that are going to be using this Maggie in the kitchen, are mostly females who are said to be like fragile or the softer version of humans, right? So why do you require them to go to the gym first before they are able to break the Maggie? Right. So basically, when I think of product is basically experiences around you, anything in terms of experience. And what we do as product managers is to create those great, better experiences that make life easier. That's just it. We create better experiences that makes life easier, and we do this by balancing customer value and business value. So as a product manager, you are literally leading a team to make sure that you guys create experiences that are better for humans relating to a particular vision, right? While also balancing like business needs, like business viability. Business has to make money, and customer needs have to be solved. So basically, that's what product management is.
So it's more like that bridge between solving the customer's problem and then solving the business problem. Cool.
Exactly. Business goals, customer goals.
Cool. I like that definition. Very precise, very concise, and very easy to understand to and relate with. Let's talk about getting into product management real quick. But before then, just in case you did not know, Goodness is my former manager. Yes. Full disclosure. Yeah. We worked together and she was my former manager and then she managed very well. So I'm not just talking to someone I do not know, I'm talking to someone I know. And then
Oh,
another thing I love
thank
to say
you.
on
And
this show.
amazing teammates too as well.
Yes, yes. Another thing I love to say is that this show is not a representation from any of our employers. This is like our own personal opinions around these things. And if you have your questions, put it down there. We are going to address it real quick. So, assuming this is me, James, maybe I've gone to the university, or maybe I haven't gone to the university, but I
Mhm.
just jumped on this show and then I heard Goodness talking about product management as this exciting thing, and then I see that Goodness is making so much money from product management. I'm like, okay, I think this makes sense. Maybe my personality fits with it. What's the journey like? Where do I begin? Where do I start? What's your recommendation? I know people talk about certifications and all of that, but what would you recommend? What's the pathway like? Let's talk about that.
Okay. I mean, the first thing is to decipher if it's something that you want to do. I feel like people get into product management these days because they feel like it's the easiest route to make it to get into tech. But sorry to disappoint you. There's a lot of work there. There's a lot of work in product management. There's a lot of strategy, a lot of leadership. Like there's a lot of work in product management. So it's not the easiest route to get into tech. So the first thing you want to decide is check is this for me? Is this something that I want to do? Is this do I also have like transferable skills from like previous roles in this particular role? So I for that I recommend that you basically browse the roles and responsibilities of product managers, check it up on Google, or go to YouTube and watch a day in the life of a product manager. You see several videos and literally you see what they do and you find out, okay, is this something that I'm interested in? Does it seem like it's going to be a great fit for me? So once you do that and you decide that you want to go on, the next thing is to get knowledge. So in getting knowledge, right? What I normally advise is to take a structured course. There are so many resources online, so it can get confusing. For me, I was kind of like opportune to be in a role. I was in like customer relationship manager, and somehow my boss has already started to like give me some product management duties and responsibilities. Even though as at then I didn't know they were product management roles, I started to do like some little bit of product management. So that kind of like helped me, but I still had to take a structured course. So there are a lot of courses online. There are a lot of um resources online, and it can get very draining knowing, okay, where do I start from? There's literally no syllabus and you don't know what's the start and the end of like course. Okay, how do I know that I now I'm a product manager and I have all the skills that are necessary? So I recommend that you take structured courses, find a product management institute and take a course from end to beginning, like from beginning to end, right? So once you do that, other things that you probably get a certification. There's the CPM, the Certified Product Manager certification. There are other certifications that you get. Maybe you want to do agile, you can get like a certified Scrum Master certification just to add that, to make sure that you're not just a product manager but you're an agile product manager. So you can go through all of those processes. Now after you go through those courses, it's not enough for you to now start to call yourself a product manager. You need real life experience, right? And it's those real life experiences that you're now going to put in your CV and will make the hiring manager to hire you. Now, how do you get those experiences? Because like it or not, people don't want to employ someone with zero experience anymore. Right? It is manager. There is manager in the name, product manager. So you are a manager. Imagine hiring a manager that's not experienced at
Does
all.
not manage anything.
They are going to manage people astray,
Yeah.
right? So you need to still get the hands-on experience. And how do you do that? Two ways you can go about that is either working on a hypothetical product, right? Or basically starting from where you are in the organization that you currently work, looking for product management opportunities and offering to like serve as a product manager in those roles. So those are the two ways. Now, if you're going to go the hypothetical way, there are two ways you can still go about that, where you basically just do the research aspect of it, you do the documentation, you do the strategy, you do the vision and all of those things, and you keep it at that. Now you take that and use that as a portfolio. Or you can go even further deeper to find designers, amateur developers, basically beginners who are at the same level that you are trying to build experience, right? And you guys can now collaborate together to work on a real life product, right? That can be used. Who knows? You might end up not become looking for a product management job. You can now become a founder, right? So basically, that's the way you can go about that. Find other beginners who in other domains. There are designers who are beginners looking to build experience. Find them, work on a project together, and use that to build your first portfolio. Now you can now take those experiences and splash it everywhere in your CV. Now the other way, which is basically for you to find open positions, is basically where you are right now. Start to fill in the product manager role. If there's a product manager there, try to shadow them. Right. If there's no product manager at all, just start to take on product management responsibilities. Do research before product is released. Try to talk to customers, get data from them, and try to provide recommendations of products for the product improvement. Talk about strategy, vision, and all of those things. Right, basically all the things that you've learned in your course. Start to apply them in real life in the company that you currently work in. Then after you do that, the next thing is for you to work on your resume. Now the resume, that part, you can use transferable skills from your previous role. So what I normally say is look at all the things you've ever done before. For every role, even that is a customer care representative, a marketer, a business owner, there is at least one or two things that product managers do that you have done before. Now
Mm-hmm.
highlight those things and pinpoint, emphasize them on your CV, and that's how you show that you have experience. So basically, that's how you can land your first product management role. So yeah.
And then you start earning 1 million per month.
Ah, that one's on you.
Yeah, I had to say that because I feel like sometimes people have this notion that, oh my God, once you just land that tech job, you're going to start earning 1 million a month and, even two
Okay.
million a month. But we'll come to that. We'll really find out if that is true or not. But what I picked from what you said was it's like a journey, and the
Mm-hmm.
curve begins with you finding out, is that what you want to do? And she gave a very powerful recommendation. Go on YouTube and type a day in the life of a product manager. I usually give that recommendation to, and it applies to any career. A day in the life of a software engineer, a day in the life of whatever you want to do. Just go and type that in, because that's going to show you like videos, what it is like for people in that sector. And then you can begin to match that with your own personality if this mirrors who you are. And then the
Mm-hmm.
next thing is knowledge. Very, very important. And I like the structured knowledge path, because I feel like we have an over information problem now. If you go to the internet now, everyone is an expert, actually. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone has something to say. Everyone has it's overwhelming. So that's also why I love like the structured course. Register in a boot camp, register for a
Yeah.
certification course, go to that structured course. That way it's already arranged for you, and then you know how to go about that. And then the next thing, take up learning, practical learning. You talked about both hypothetical learning and real world learning. Hypothetical, I know I've gone through that path before. Come together with your friends and then create something and work on it in that role, and then learn from there. And then even where you are, you talked about that, getting to fill up, mirror a product, shadow a product manager, or even identify product management opportunities and volunteer to do that. And
Yeah.
then the next thing, set up your resume, and then just blow. Let's come to that. All
Yeah.
right, that's where I was going. So, how profitable is product management? So, I'm asking this because I, for once, I love to find the balance between, oh my God, I love this thing so much. That thing I love so much has to love me, or has to take care of me as well. I'm taking care of this thing. The thing has to take care of me, because I'm not about to say, oh my God, I love. We used to make a joke and we say, do you think Dangote loves cement? So somehow, I mean, for managing your career, loving it might not just be the genesis to revelation of everything. There may be more to it. So let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
the how profitable is product management. So what's the benefit like, both financially and even to my person? What is it like? Can you give us, like, can you talk through that? Maybe use yourself
Okay.
as an experience, as an example. How has it been like growing in that financially, or even career wise? Like, what's the future in the last how many years? Thank you.
Yeah. So product management is actually really profitable. Sometimes you earn more than the developers that spend their time sitting in front of computers to coding all
Okay.
day, right? so so it actually is. I think in Nigeria the average product manager earns between 350,000 naira to like as much as 8 million a month, depending on the organization that you're working. Right. I know product managers that earn in dollars, 4K, 5K in Nigeria here, right? They're not abroad. They stay in Nigeria here and they earn as much as 4K from international organizations. I know product managers in Nigeria who earn in naira and earn as much as 6 to 8 million naira. Yes, per month. So basically, it is profitable. It is very profitable. It's like one of the profitable. That's why it is very saturated now. Like everybody, everybody wants to be a product manager because they feel like it is Isha Kekere or Ronaldo. You know, I say small work, Ronaldo's pay.
Oh,
But there's a lot.
okay.
There's, there's a lot of work in it, right? You just
Mhm,
need to like get up for the work. There's money, but there's work. So, in terms of what it does to you as a person,
mhm,
product management is a very, very interesting role. One of the things that you can be sure to become is that your critical thinking skills improve because you have to critically think, you have to make a lot of decisions in a short period of time, you have to prioritize. It literally stretches you, your leadership abilities. Now that's when we will know whether you're a good leader or you're a bad leader. Right? So because you literally have to motivate people, you have to inspire people towards like a common goal. And the truth is that if the product succeeds, they'll say it's the team. But the moment the product fails, it's the product manager, right? So so literally it stretches you as a person. Like you learn a lot of skills, a lot of soft skills, leadership, stakeholder management, diplomacy, critical thinking, ability to prioritize, data driven decision making. I found out that even for me, when I started to make decisions for myself, I started needing data.
mhm.
Imagine, okay, I want to make a decision. Should I buy this car or should I buy the other car? And I have to go and get data first before deciding to. So I became a much more better decision maker. I mean, for my personal life, and this is not even relating to product management. So that's what product managers stress you. You become a better person, you become a resilient and dogged person because one day you would see that the product that was working like some few minutes ago, the next minute server is down. And then you just have to face your customers, you just have to find a way around it. So it does really stretch you. Yeah, it's a very lucrative career.
I love the benefit because it's both financial and then professionally. Because I mean, there are
Yeah.
careers you go to, you make so much money, but you are not growing as a person. And then some
Mm-hmm.
others you are growing, but you're not making money. So I love to just find that equilibrium point
Yeah,
between,
balance.
financial and then professional growth. We have a question
Yeah.
here from Jeremiah Matthews. We are going to talk about that. We are going to throw that question out there in a jiffy. But before then, goodness, let's talk about a day in the life of a product manager, you now in this case. So what let's say today is a Monday and then you're
Okay.
resuming in your office as a
Wow.
product manager at XYZ. What is it like? Can you just walk through your day maybe from 9 to 5 perspective, or what is it like ideally for you?
Okay. I don't think Mondays would be the best days to ask about because I literally spend all my day on Mondays in meetings.
Ah,
So I just cancel on Monday. Monday is not for any creative work. It's just for meetings, literally.
mm-hmm,
So I wake up in the morning and we have stand-ups by 9:15. From 9:15, it normally takes between 30 minutes to 1 hour. And then maybe like 10, I'm done with stand-up. And then I'm moving from one meeting to another meeting, and all that. So, but on typical days, right? On typical days that are not Mondays where I'm having a lot of meeting, what it feels like for me is that I have to like delegate my work. I have to decide, okay, what am I focusing on today? On a particular day, I can decide to focus on user research, where I'm just going to be having conversations with users, trying to get their feedback, and all of that, and just to like see where there are places of friction on the product and how we can improve it. Another day, I could be literally spending my time on Mixpanel, which is a monitoring tool like that we use to like monitor how users are currently using our products. And so I'm just spending time seeing users. I'm like a god, just literally looking at how users are currently interacting with the product and places where we need to make improvements. Other days, I'm working cross functionally with the marketing team, deciding, okay, what are the messages that we need to improve on our product, what are the call to actions that we need to change, what copies should we change, what places should we make improvements in terms of like the marketing itself. Another day, I am basically on Jira boards. I'm trying to put out tasks, okay, users writing user stories and acceptance criteria for, okay, this is what the developer should build, this is what the acceptance criteria, which is like definition of done, this is what it should look like when this feature is done, right? So I'm
Mhm.
working on that, and I'm signing tasks, I'm measuring how much work is being done and all of that. Other days, I'm reviewing the design and seeing if the design is basically in terms of like what is factored in design experience. Great experience is factored in design, and also business as well is also factored in design, because sometimes user experience designer, product designers can be so concerned with aesthetics that they forget that there's a business aspect of the product. So I have to
Mhm.
also oversee that and approve for development to start. So basically, it's a lot of things on several days. The thing is that you own your role, you own your job. Nobody's literally going to tell you what to do. You decide what you're going to do, right? Depending on what your goals are for the week. So yeah.
Okay, let's talk about tools. In the course of what you said now, you mentioned a couple of things: Mixpanel, Jira board. I'm going to assume I don't know anything. I don't know any of them. So let's talk about like what are some of the most common tools I will need to understand or master as a product manager or you use often. Can you just talk about mention a few of them, the most common ones that maybe you use often?
All right. So one of it, the first is Figma. It's for Figma. Basically, what you need to do to be able to understand it is just basically to navigate, to view, to share, to comment, and those are basic things that product managers do. You might
Mm-hmm.
not be required to work on wireframes on prototypes, but I do recommend that you learn how to like create wireframes and prototypes, like basically using Figma, right, as a tool. Another tool is Jira. Some company use Trello, some company use Asana, some company use as Azure DevOps, right? But I personally use Jira for the organizations that I've worked with. And then for Jira, what is it is a project management tool that just basically helps you to outline tasks, see how much work is being done, calculate your sprint velocity, and just be agile, right? So yeah. Then there's mixed panel. Mixed panel is for you to like basically monitor how users are currently interacting with your product so that you can make better product and data driven decisions. So you get data from mixed panel, you see how users are currently interacting with your product, and you see, okay, this place here, there needs to be a change. Customers are wasting a lot of time here. Customers are not taking action as the actions that we want them to take. Customers are choosing 20% of these instead of 30% of this. So it gives you a lot of data to make better decisions in terms of like improving your product. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like those tools, and it was important that we highlight them. And then, okay, let's take Jeremiah's question before we proceed. How do you transition from project management to product management, or maybe do you even need to transition? Let's just take his question literally. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you transition from project management to product management? I mean, first question that James asks is, why do you even want to transition in the first place? Right. Right. And I feel like people miss product management with project management. Anybody that calls me a project manager, I feel like knocking them because because I'm not a project manager, I'm a product manager. They are two different things. How I explain it is this way. The project manager, let's say we are working on a program. The program is MTM Project Fame. That's the program. Right now, the project manager is in charge of bringing the drum set, bringing the keyboard, bringing the choristers, making sure everybody is set, everybody's arranged. Did you come on time? Right, and all of those. That's what the project manager does. Now, the product manager is responsible for the quality of the sound that comes out. So the product manager is telling the soprano, sing this way. Oh, auto syncs with. Whoa! So basically, we are responsible for the quality of the product. While the
Mm-hmm.
project manager is responsible for making sure that everything is put in place and the project, basically they're focused on timelines and budgets mostly, right? So that's what project managers do. So in terms of transitioning from project manager to product manager, I think that the best way is that approach that I mentioned before, filling up the space. Now, what do product managers do? You first of all need to know what product managers do. We are more concerned on strategy. We are more concerned with business goals, business vision, and solving customer needs. Right. Sometimes what I see is that product managers in their first the first in the early days of their career tend
Mm-hmm.
to become project managers. They forget what their roles is and they're just consumed with Jira boards and tickets. And that is literally not your role, right? If you had a product owner to work with, that would be the role of the product owner, and you're just going to be driving strategy and decisions and business decisions, basically. So your role, as if you are a project manager looking to transition, focus more. Right now take your eyes from just Jira boards and start to see, okay, how can we improve the quality of the product? What is the product doing now? How can we improve it? And you're not going to be doing some research where you're going to be asking questions like, okay, what's it now? Was it not doing before?
Yeah, I think you're good. You sort of got knocked off. Mm.
Okay, can you see me now?
No, I think it's a bit blank, but I can hear your voice. Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, I just set up the camera one last time and then it should be good. Mm. Yep. Mm. How do you transition from project management to product management? Yeah. Jerry, I hope you're getting your question answered. Yeah. I'm also curious to get the answer to that question myself. And sometimes, yeah, I think goodness, she's going to be joining back. Yeah. Sometimes it can be like a thin line. Yeah. Because project management, the way I understand it, it's like more like just, as the name implies, just a project. Yeah. So you manage that project and then from initiation to close out. Thank you, goodness. And here we go. Yep. Good to have you back.
All right.
Yep. So I will just let you continue from where you stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, start to look up, focus more on the quality of the product. What's the user experience like? Start to talk to customers. What are we doing now that we can do better? Right? How can we satisfy your needs more? What are the gaps that are in our product that we need to improve on? So focus more on the quality instead of focusing on timelines. Who is moving their board? Who is not moving their board? Who's finishing their task? Right? That's project management role. Focus
Mm.
on the quality of the product. So yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, Jerry, for that question. And if you have any question, put it out there. We are going to address it together as we walk towards wrapping up this session real quick. And my other question is, I feel like there is always this, I'm happy you already addressed project management and product management. So there is always also this contention between Scrum Master, product owner, product manager. I know that based on maybe location influence things like this to maybe budget influence things like this to maybe organizational size influences things like this too. But
Yeah.
can you talk about like what is the distinction really? What's the distinction between product owner, scrum master, product manager? What's the distinction?
Okay. All right. So the Scrum Master's role is very well defined. The Scrum Master's role is just to make sure that you are following all the Scrum and Agile methodology frameworks like exactly the way it should be. 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes stand up. You shouldn't have more than 15 minutes stand up. You're doing your sprint planning. You're doing 2 week sprints. You are doing your basically they are more concerned on the Scrum events and Scrum artifacts and making sure that everything is done exactly the way it should be done, like
Mm-hmm.
stated in Scrum. Right. So that's the role of Scrum. It's very clearly defined. It's
Perfect.
separate. So now the role of a product owner and product manager, that is where like there's a sort of confusion. Now most times you would find that the product manager is also the product owner in the company or organization. And I that is the way I recommend that it should be. I feel like that should be the ideal way. The product manager should also be the product owner. But in an organization where you have a product manager separate from a product owner, the product manager's role would be basically to have do like to understand what are the customer needs and then profile the solutions to it, and then okay, how can we make money from it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
basically, they are more concerned with business strategy, and all of that, and then deciding what the features are. Now, the product manager is going to take the features to the product owner, right? The product owner would now prioritize the features and say, okay, this is the feature that we're going to do this sprint. Now, the product owner is going to be the one to stipulate how that feature would work. So they are going to say, oh, when somebody wants to sign up, this is how the sign up feature should look like. This is how they should experience it. So they own the product, the interaction with the customer, the experience of the product. They define what that looks like. So, but I kind of feel like um having a separate person doing that from the product manager. You know how you say I say dog now, and by the time it gets to like the fifth person or sixth person, the person is saying cat, because there's a lot of information that has been lost in between
Mm-hmm.
communication. So that's why I feel like the product manager should also be the product owner, because you spoke with the user, you understand what their problems are, you understand how you are able to empathize with them, and so with that empathy that you've gotten with them, from them, it is now ideal for you to now take those things and use it to inform, okay, this is how the product should look and feel like, right? So yeah, that's basically the difference.
Good explanation there. There is one other question from Jeremiah here. Yeah, I will come to that question. But let's talk about building your career as a product manager or in product management. Because sometimes people have this problem where maybe you go through that initial certification course or boot camp, and then you get that first product management role, and then you start earning money, and you're like, oh my God, and then you just keep going. Maybe you earn more money, and then that's it. So, but let's, using your own situation, after imagine you're already in it, you're already in product management, how are you keeping up to industry standards, changing trends, just what's building the career like? What other extra maybe certification are you getting or do you need to get? I know it doesn't apply to all careers, but let's building it. How do you really build it to just keep going? Because I mean, we are thinking of something, you'll be there in the next 10, 20, even 50 years, depending on what you want to do. So how do you stay relevant in the course of building that career? What are the things you need to do or you do as a person?
Okay. So I think that the key to this is being an excellent version of yourself, right? Because when you are at some point, you feel like, oh, I'm no longer doing enough, and then you start to look for more opportunities and more opportunities for learning. You start to
Mm-hmm.
pay attention to like networking, community, and start to find more opportunities. That's usually the first thing. But if you're a complacent person who's literally satisfied with a little comfort, right, it's very easy for you to just sit in one place, and before you know, you become stale and old and you don't even know, because you're just enjoying your probably your 500K or 600K that you're earning, and you think that's the end of life, right?
Yeah.
Basically. But if you always expect like the best out of yourself, if you're always looking for room and opportunities to grow, right, you also you would put yourself out there, you find those opportunities, right? So basically, make sure that where you are getting results, you are driving results. You're not just building products, you are building a product that drives results, that is bringing revenue, bringing money, bringing like bringing revenue, right, basically for the organization. Try to make sure that you're doing your best where you are. Then the other thing, to keep up with industry trends, I subscribe to a lot of newsletters, product management newsletters. A couple of them are newsletters from Atir Abdul. There's also Powell, Hiron. There's also Jen from Choice Hacking. Those are emails that I basically subscribe to, and I just read them. Also, LinkedIn helps. A lot of people are always dropping up information on LinkedIn, and all of that. So when you pay attention to all of this, you get information. You know what is it's in what is in vogue, right? But the most important thing right now is that you're driving growth for the organization that you work in. If you are not, please leave. Right? Look for opportunities to. But if you're getting to a point where it doesn't feel like you're growing, right, leave and look for where you can grow. So yeah, it's just basically finding opportunities, trying to be excellent, trying to look for ways to be better version of yourself. How can I be better? How can I improve here? What's needed
Mm-hmm.
here? Just
Mm-hmm.
putting an eye out for more opportunities.
I like that because the more like the more challenging projects or products you work on, then that's also how you grow. Let's take Jerry's
Exactly.
question. Jerry says, do you need programming languages experience to be a product manager? Also, what technical skills do you need to become a product manager?
All right.
Do I need
So
to
you
write
don't need
Python algorithms?
No, you don't need to be experienced with programming languages to become a product manager, but you do need to understand technical terminologies to be able to converse and basically work seamlessly with your technical team, with your engineering team. So you need the knowledge, you need to understand APIs, you need to understand servers, you need to know what backend is doing, what front end is doing, right? You need to know what all of those plugins are and all of those things, right? So it's information that you need to be able to like have conversation so that you're not clueless, right? You work in a cloud-based organization, like maybe you guys are working on a cloud-based product and you don't know anything about cloud-based technology, right? It won't work. Or you work in blockchain, right? So you need those domain knowledge, right? Not necessarily to be able to code, but you need the information so you can make the best recommendation for the product and you can have like seamless conversations with your team. But in terms of technical expertise for product managers, one of it is being able to use those Jira boards, like the product project management tools. Other thing is the data tools, which is like the Google Analytics, Mixpanel, Amplitude. There's Microsoft Clarity. There's several options depending on what your organization uses. So yeah, those are like the technical requirements for product managers.
And my last question, no, maybe last but one. So let's talk
You're
about
going to
social
pay me
media.
for extra time.
Yeah, that's why I said last. Okay, let's talk about social media. How is social media helping you to in your product management career, maybe finding jobs? I know people are on LinkedIn and all of that, but from your experience, how is that helping you? How is that setting? How can that set people up for success in building a product management career?
All right. When this camera went off, you guys could literally not see me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying hello, but you could not see me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's what it does. It's right now. My camera is on, and now you can see me. That's what social media does. It gives you visibility. It makes people see you. So you can be an expert, and nobody knows that you're an expert. And then you're just an expert in one shadow, and you're saying hello, hello, and nobody's literally seeing you. So social media gives you visibility. What social media has helped me do is I've been able to get income from like several other ways. So apart from being a product manager 9 to 5, because I was teaching on social media. I got teaching gigs. So I now teach product management to other people who want to become product managers too as well. So that gave me visibility. And literally, we are in the world where if you social media is now your portfolio. It is now your basically your global portfolio. So I don't think that it's not even product management specific. Across board, across career, you need to find ways to make yourself visible as a career person, right? And social media is that tool to provide visibility, to give yourself visibility. So yeah.
And you reading this now or listening to this now, that's your sign to go put that post on LinkedIn. That's a sign to go follow and connect with Goodness Ehizode on LinkedIn. That's your sign to follow her on Twitter. That's your sign to just go out there and put yourself out there so that you're not
Mhm.
just locked in some small space. And what last words do you have for us? Goodness, oh my God, there's one last question here, but let's hear what word of advice is there a platform you want us to follow? Is there anything you want to talk about? Tell us about some training, just anything for us.
Okay, I mean, so first of all, I have a lot of detailed information on product management. So if you have any questions on product management, how to grow in the career, I have a whole podcast for it. So you can check here on YouTube, Everything Products with Ehizo there. You find the podcast. I interviewed several experts in different sectors of the industry. So yeah, that would help you. You can also follow me across board, the Goodness Ehizode there on Instagram, and then also on LinkedIn, Goodness Ehizode. So once my name is like literally everywhere, when you search it, that's what you're going to find. So aside that, one thing I want to share is that basically product management is an interesting role. We are looking for product managers. Like companies are looking for product managers, regardless of the fact that it's very very saturated. Companies are looking for product managers, and I think that the role of product management is going to transition in the next few years, where companies are not just going to be looking for product managers who build products alone, but who drive growth and revenue, right? People who actually have results. So it's not enough to just be a feature factory where you're releasing new features every day. You have to basically also drive growth, drive revenue for the company as well. There's going to also be a lot of emphasis on AI product managers too as well. So learn AI, see how AI can be infused into the product that you currently are developing, and how we can use it to like improve human experience too as well. There's going to be more domain knowledge. Like you need to get more domain knowledge. If you are in fintech, learn more about the fintech industry and how to scale and all of that. So yeah, that's it for me.
That was a good bang. Yeah. Goodness Ehizode. Go check her out check out the show, the podcast on YouTube. Check her out on
They're
LinkedIn.
asking if you can type it out. Is this
I can
something
type it out. I will
possible?
try to put that out there shortly. And as we round up, and coffee or tea for you, Goodness.
Coffee.
Okay, I finally got someone that went with coffee. The last people have been tea, tea, tea. And so, guys, that's it on My Career Chronicles today. Thank you very much, Goodness, for joining. And thank you for all the
Thank you for having
information and
me.
knowledge you put out there. And thank you for everyone that was able to join us in this live session. And see you soon. Yeah, we do this twice in a month. And bye.
Bye.